republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so welcome to Select Board. We have this at this portion of the meeting. We have a public participation. Did you have anything you want to say, or did you just come to see the meeting? Okay.
Yeah, they're Bob and Shirley Miller.
Yeah.
They're the ones I talked to you about West Road.
I know who they are.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You come sit there and then the microphone.
Actually, Rascal knows who they are too.
If you want to come, if you want to have a seat over there, you can. It's a little bit more comfortable.
Well, welcome,
Thank you.
and thank you for coming tonight, and hopefully we can help you.
I hope you can too. What the problem is the ditch in front of my daughter's mailbox. I know exactly why it happens, and it's because when they plowed the road, they left a little ridge alongside of it. Directs the water right down and it's got a ditch, must be that deep. Post office says they can't deliver the mail because of the ditch, and I don't blame the girl for not wanting to drive in it, because I wouldn't want to put my car in it either. But the problem is that it's been a month or so, and nobody has done anything.
Now, did this ditch just get dug? I mean, is it a new
It's
problem,
not
or is
dug-
it something that?
It isn't a dug ditch. It's a wash.
It's a washed out ditch.
And the reason it washed out is because the way they got the road crowned up, all the water runs to the edge, then it runs down this way. There's no place for it to go beyond the edge of the road. It is downhill, it goes right down and washed it out. And all the gravel and other stuff is down in my daughter's driveway and on down in through toward her garage.
Now, is this
No.
something new that happened, though, that all of a
It's
sudden?
happened since the town road crew plowed the road.
Last winter.
Graded it,
Oh, graded it, okay.
Graded
Okay.
it, okay.
I brought this up to the select
Yeah.
board a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks ago when we last met.
Yeah,
And it was supposed to be taken care of.
Okay, he hadn't been up there,
Well,
nobody's been up there.
I also want to tell the board that I did talk to the girl that delivers the mail up there, and she absolutely says she can't. It's bad.
Yeah, and it's also washing out in front, along my lawn there. Charlie and I fixed it, a few years ago. We could plow right down, mow the lawn right down to the road, mow right there. There was no real problem. The road crew comes up, of course, they've got that road grader and it can dig a whole lot faster than I can. And they plow out all the dirt, put a ditch there, and it's washing out. It also washes down in front of Biswick's mailbox. And then they've got down below there, they've got it all directed out into the field in one spot, and that's washing out a gully. Now, I'm not complaining too much about that one, but I would like something done about this other. And I know who to go after. But what's gonna happen is if I have to go up there and fill it in myself, I'm gonna charge the town a whole lot more than it would cost them for the road crew to do it.
Right.
Well, you
And
shouldn't have to.
Absolutely. No.
if the
You shouldn't
town
have to do
decides
that.
they
Do it
won't
yourself.
pay it, I'll take it to court.
You shouldn't have to do it yourself.
I should not have
No,
to.
absolutely not.
No.
But if I do, like I
It should have
said,
been
if I
helped.
do, I'll
Something
charge
should have
a
been
whole
done
lot
3
more.
weeks ago when I brought it up.
When you first, where did they dig? They didn't come up there. They did
Yep.
it down below Beswick's where they dug the other ditch. The pipe comes out, the water goes down, then they dug a ditch. Now the water's coming down along the pipe where and going to down.
And created its own gully.
So this is
Yeah.
this is a problem that only started when they regraded the road.
Yeah,
So
more or
she's
less.
had problems other times when it flooded the whole thing up there from up above when the brook went over the road because they cut out the trees.
That
And
was
they took the
a
whole
few
road
years
off that
back.
time.
Yep, and and I
well,
spoke to him and he
of course,
came up and did that.
That was, at that particular time, we had about a foot of rain. That's a lot of rain.
Yeah.
Right, that's gonna happen, yeah.
It was during a hurricane or something near there. And it washed out. It literally washed the road right out. We were lucky there because it didn't go across the road and wash my daughter's house out. Because if it had gone across it in the wrong spot, it would have. But that part of it's neither here nor there. The road is more or less fixed. But the road commissioner seems to think that you gotta have ditches that deep along the side of the road. There isn't that much water running there. But what he's doing is directing all the water into one spot, and it washed out. But I'm kidding you not, it's that deep and that wide where they washed it out. It's washed out by my daughter's mailbox alongside my lawn. It's the same thing. There's a drop off on my lawn. It must be at least that high.
Wow.
Like before, when Shirley and I fixed it, we could mow it with a lawnmower. Also, on the other side of the road, where my mother-in-law lived before she passed away, and my brother-in-law before he passed, I could mow right down to the edge of the road. Now, this has only happened in the last couple of years. I could mow right out into the, I don't dare go over with the lawnmower now. I wouldn't dare go along the road with the lawnmower because it would, and
Tip
it's
over.
a riding mower and I'm liable to be laying in the road. And I don't want that lawnmower laying on top of me because it's
No.
a little heavy.
That's right. It's a lot heavy.
It's a little.
Okay.
Well, I can't pick it up, so it's too heavy for me. That's how.
No, we don't need you laying under a riding lawnmower.
amazing.
And
That's,
particularly if I
that's-
was laying under it, I don't think I could push it off.
it shouldn't be anywhere
I know
near
I
you
know
unless you're
Shirley's
on
not
it.
doing that.
Okay, we will make sure it's taken care of, I promise.
Okay.
Jeff?
And starting tomorrow, they've been leaving Linda's mail in our box.
Okay.
And the postman, she's not supposed to be doing that.
Okay,
So
No.
if it's not fixed, Linda will want me getting in your mail.
okay.
It doesn't bother me that they leave Linda's mail there, but it gets lost. Believe me, if I bring it in and lay it down, the next thing you know, it's under something.
Well, and it's not
and it
safe
went-
anyway,
and-
Well, it's a
besides
law,
the mail,
too.
it's
Right.
just
Has
not
a right to
safe,
get
so.
the mail,
Not
it's a
safe.
constitutional right.
But he's got the road so crowned over that all the water has to run somewhere, and it's running right down that, but right alongside the road where they plowed it with
a never-ending
when they
thing.
graded it with the grader, they left this ridge, and that directs all the water right down through.
Okay,
That's exactly why.
all right. Well, thank you very much for coming in, and we will make sure that it gets taken care of
Okay.
immediately.
Sorry you had to deal with it twice.
Jeff, do you
I
want
did
to
bring it up, though.
Well, that's what
I
I'm saying.
promise.
You did, you
It's-
did.
You thought you took care of it.
I thought I did, yep.
go with me? Okay, what's my schedule? I've got, okay, we're gonna have to do it in the morning, because I have a meeting all day, starting at noon time, so it'll have to be early.
We'll follow up on it for you, sir. Thank you for
Okay.
coming.
Thank you.
Thank
Have
you.
a
And
good evening.
again, sorry you
Thank
had to
you
come
very
all the way
much.
in here.
We will be there in the morning and talk to him and make sure it gets
Okay.
fixed, okay?
All righty. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well,
Have a great evening.
I'll try.
Okay, next on the agenda is
Good evening.
Lieutenant Anderson. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hey,
Which chair will I fit in?
I saw the picture on Facebook with you in that little bitty kid's chair, so
Oh, that
this
was
should be
adorable.
easy.
No, they didn't have no
Those
arms.
are deceptive. I kid you not, I was looking at them, I was like, I'll sit in it, but it might break, which would be funny. They're actually really comfortable.
Really?
Not bad at all. For an adult, I mean, it's a decent chair. I was impressed, but yeah.
First off, let us tell you what a great job you're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
I have gotten more compliments on the sheriff's department. It is just amazing. You and your team are doing an absolutely wonderful job. It's amazing to see things that are happening in the town that you're taking care of. The public relations part of your job has been unbelievable. I mean, people are just so impressed with how involved you are in the community. And, you know, for me, and I'm sure I'm speaking for the rest of the board, we really want to thank you for the job that you've done and your team.
Yes.
And we all appreciate it, but more importantly, we're enjoying it, so.
Yeah, you look like you're having fun at that preschool lunch.
Yeah.
Trouble. I didn't have a lunchbox.
It was so cute.
But yeah, no, it's been a pleasure. I think that we couldn't be any luckier than with the community we have. People have just been fantastic. Usually we're used to dealing with an element of society that doesn't appreciate police presence. So,
Well, it looks like you've been dealing with a little bit of that too,
well,
and we thank you for that also.
and even then they've been great. I mean,
It's a little scary.
when you can arrest someone and they say thank you, well, that tells me that we're doing something right. So they don't say thank you, well, I still think we're doing something right, but no less. So I promised I'd be quick, but I'm happy to answer any questions. So if I sound like I'm trying to brush through things, I'm not. It's just I want to preserve your time. As for an update on our current services, we answered, and I'll leave this packet with you, but
Great.
we answered approximately 242 calls for service from August 1st to August 31st. During that period, we had 5 arrests, several tickets. One of the things that our office provides is access to what we call our Sherristown Activity Reporting System, or STARS. We're currently in a software revision, and as part of that, I kind of broke stuff. So, we're not really offering that yet, so I can print it out for you. But hopefully that will be fixed soon, and then we'll get you guys access to it. But ultimately,
Yes.
at the end of every shift, each of our deputies enters a report, basically saying what their activities were, what investigations they're on. This is actually what we call our bill as well, and it's also part of their timesheet. So if they want to get paid, they have to do this. If we want to get paid, we have to submit this. So it's all, we tie it all together, but it gives the board and whoever they deem appropriate access to what we're doing. In case you have like a question like, hey, there's like 47 cars out on Route 142 the other day. We had Bradboro PD, we had Vernon, we had fire
I did
department.
get that call.
the
I did get that call.
Knew it, and we try and stay ahead of things with Facebook, but when we're right in the thick of it, we can't really be posting
Right.
on Facebook. So, but it does kind of give that insight. It will be obviously at the end of the shift or the next day, but just so you know, there is that resource there, and soon it will be fixed. As far as issues in town, not really. I don't see anything that's really of great concern. I would consider a lot of the things to be typical Vermont. There's not really any unique crime issue to Vernon that I recognize. There's certainly some interesting investigations that we've had, some fairly higher profile investigations we've had, but for the most part, I don't see it as anything that's unnerving at this point. Just to follow up on a motion from a board meeting from a few months ago now, we've looked into having Comcast install the call box on the outside. Comcast doesn't install those boxes. My recollection of the meeting was that I was only authorized to go to Comcast, so I'd like to ask the board if that was the board's intent for the leeway to be able to go to an outside vendor and have them install it.
I think there is one that we deal with. Tatro?
Mike Tetro.
Mike Tetro.
Tetro.
Names are just kind of escaping me.
I don't have his phone number, but I think
I
the
was just going to
treasurer's
say the
office
treasurer's
does.
office will have his number. You can contact him.
Very good. So we'll get that installed, and I just keep forgetting to bring it up. But they did say that they got out of that business not too long ago. The inventory is nearly complete. I have not yet emailed it to you, but ultimately we're at a point where we're pretty much as far along with an inventory that we can be. So I will pass that along in an email. What, at this point, what we do need is space. Right now, basically all the equipment is sitting right in the middle of the floor. And I have some concerns just out of safety issues, but also I have some concerns that the equipment's just going to continue to sit there. So what I'd like to do is move the equipment that doesn't have, won't have any impact on it to the North School, where ultimately, like uniforms aren't going to change if it's a cold or heated place. Electronics equipment such as that will find a safe storage for it that will be environmentally friendly. But
How about if we put, I was thinking about this since our conversation the other day, how about if we put that stuff in the trunk of the cruisers?
we could do that.
Because it's
Some of
heated.
it.
I mean, we don't have any and we can put some of it in here, but we really don't have any place to put a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, like you said, the uniforms are fine in the North School.
Right.
But not everything's gonna be okay there. But and Mark and I talked the other day, as soon as his inventory is done, I was gonna see if I could enlist one of you to, it's gotta go up on the Vermont League of Cities and Towns website, but one of you to be in charge of it.
I have to wait and see what happens next week.
I mean,
She's a
Janet,
liaison.
but Janet and I are so busy with all this grant stuff.
There's just
I mean,
no
we-
way
Well, I
I
could
can do that
try.
and get the grant
you
in
do
at the
that?
I'll
same
try.
time.
I'm really busy myself. I mean,
Well, the thing is a lot of this stuff is time sensitive, and we've got meetings.
I mean, I'm home
2 or 3 days
most
a
all the
week.
time, so I
You're
don't
so
mind.
good with a computer too. I mean, all you would have to do is take the inventory list and upload it onto VLCT, and then we'll start getting phone calls.
Okay.
Is it just a for sale kind of thing? Like,
Or if you just wanna give
or are
me
we
the list, I'll just
accepting
send it up
bids
to them.
for it? How is that?
Okay, you want to do
Oh,
it that
that's an
way?
idea.
But there's still going to have to be somebody in charge of it because our time is just.
We're gonna start
Crazy
getting
with all of this
responses
stuff.
and
So what are you
Yeah.
gonna do? Did you say?
If it's just, a list, I could take it up with me,
Okay.
but,
And then you want me to keep track of it?
Yeah,
Once she
I mean,
gets it up
it
there?
would almost be
All right.
separate bids, like, we already know that there are 2 police departments that are interested in 2 of the vehicles. Now, the 3rd vehicle, I think, is not gonna be any good at all, so we'll probably just sell that outright for whatever we can, and all of the equipment has been damaged, so it's not at the,
So what would be my job to just keep checking the website, the VLCT website?
or maybe even on the VLCT website, we would list your phone number as a contact
Okay.
person, and then you could bring it to the board.
Yep. All right.
And then, I mean, it's simple, we would go to the highest bidder.
Yeah.
We will have a list of, the car, it's this many years, this many miles. And the thing about selling the new cruiser, because the light bar was bought with a governor's highway safety grant, it has to go to a police department, or we have to take all that stuff. Well, we couldn't sell it to
Yeah,
a
but if we're
private
gonna
buyer anyway.
get rid of the cruiser, wouldn't that go with the cruiser to another
All of
police
that,
department?
yeah,
if
and
it has to go to a
police- yeah.
police
And that police department can apply, can bring the grant under their police department. That's why it
Alright.
has to go to a police department.
Yeah, that sounds all right for me. If you take it up and they put it on, and you can list my phone number. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll do that way.
I was telling them that there's a bunch of.
For a good time, call
police stuff.
1-800-BABE.
There's a bunch of stuff in the trunk.
Well, it used to be
and
Babe.
you might want to get more because there might be some value.
Now old woman.
Well, the radios and stuff, how did we decide that, Mark?
Cougar.
I mean, radios, I think first we should see if the fire department needs any of
Well, I
them.
don't know. Maybe.
never say never.
I mean,
that's true.
radios, a majority of them are gonna be UHF radios, which fire service and EMS service and town highway
different
services
frequency.
generally won't use, but not to say that they don't have a use for it. The EOC might have a use for it. I mean, there's so many organizations that don't primarily use a UHF band that might have a use for it. There's also the VHF band radios, which all those services do use. I don't know what all the police department radios were keyed for, but I do know that they had a combination of both. We do the same thing because it allows cross communication across emergency services. So, but ultimately, you can put them on the open market, and someone's going to be interested, even if it's a $5 radio. They're interested. $10, $100, $500, $1,000. You're going to find someone because you're going to have volunteers. You're going to have towns that are trying to just find parts for this radio that's great, except that something got busted on it. So there's always a market out there. It's just not so much a question of if, but when, and how much.
How many radios do we have?
I'm gonna go from a guess. Portable radios, I want to say 5 or 6. The mobile radios, or the radios that are installed in the cars, probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Probably shy of 10.
Why do we have 10 if we only have 3 cars? And one
Radios
radio's
were
broken.
removed. They may have been broken. There's some that are sitting in our office space that just aren't installed. They might be damaged in some way, shape, or form. Sometimes, I mean, our radios are exposed to very
Coffee
unfriendly
cups?
conditions. Coffee cups are an awful weather condition. No. But I mean, they're certainly.
Depends on where they got the coffee.
Dunkin' Donuts.
There's certainly.
I meant it as a joke. Sorry.
I lost my train of thought.
Sorry, Mark.
Radio.
Oh, no problem.
We try to-
Radios.
Yeah, we're back to radios.
We try to keep our select board meetings very comfortable. So.
Oh no, it's fantastic. I enjoy laughing. I'm sure many of you have seen that. I'm just coming to the end of a day and my brain's not here.
So is it something we could kind of box up and sell all the radios together to one entity?
You very well might be able to.
I mean, it would make it easier for us if we don't have to nickel and dime all the
Yeah,
way.
but some of those radios, are they not, don't they belong, are they portable radios? I mean, are they EOC radios? Because some of
There's
the-
no EOC radios.
They're all police
There
department.
was one EOC radio, which why it was in there is beyond me.
Well, because I
talked to
think
Annette
some of
about it,
them, yeah, some of them
and
went to
she's-
fire
There
department.
was a series of events where it ended up
Mm-hmm.
at the police department to like get to somebody else to get to someone else to get repaired or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
And it just never made it back to
Okay.
the loop. All the radios that are currently there are police department radios.
Mm-hmm.
And another issue that came up is the topic of narrow banding, which, long story short, it turned a lot of perfectly good radios obsolete just because
Yeah,
it didn't meet federal
that too.
requirements. So there might also be some narrowband incompatible radios there. That
Now, how are we going to know that?
you don't.
I mean, how do you put things out for sale if you don't even know?
You talk
If
to
you
a
don't know
radio
if they're
tech.
working.
I mean,
Yeah, if
that's-
they're
that's
not
really the
good,
best-
then they're
the
not
best thing we
good.
can do.
So we have to call in a radio tech to look at all the radios before we can sell them for $5.
Or you list, or the flip side is that you just say, we don't know if this is narrowband compliant and bid at your own risk.
Yeah, that's
The
an idea.
UHF
That's an idea.
Portable radios, those should all be good. They're practically brand new. I mean, anything bought within the last couple of years, I would imagine, should be able to be narrowbanded. We are working on putting in a repeater. I'll ask our radio tech when he comes down if there's some like cutoff date where radios stop getting narrowbanded. But basically, the rule of thumb I've operated on is if it's fairly new within the last 10 years, it probably will work. The federal government is not big on just popping up a surprise and expecting you to comply tomorrow. So with that, usually we know that
You have
narrow
it, yeah.
banding is coming
You have a leeway.
20 years down the road.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, but I don't think the town would benefit by bringing someone in just to say, okay, we can make an extra $50 off this radio and that one's worth nothing. So boxing them up, selling
Sell them as a package for a few $100s.
Yeah, I mean, I could see the portable radios. I mean, you could look at several $1,000s.
We should check with the fire department though first to make sure that they don't need any of those radios before we sell them to somebody else, because we're only going to have to buy them brand new instead of. So maybe
agree.
Todd can come over and look at the radios. Who's fire department? Could you see if Todd would be interested in meeting with Mark here at the fire station, at the police department, and looking through the radios to see if there's anything there they need before we put them out to bid?
Yep.
Please. Glad none of my committees are here. Okay.
So the cruisers, that conversation is follow-up to a prior board meeting where we were in executive session. I have follow-up to that conversation. I'm not sure if it would be appropriate to have that in executive session, given it's.
If this is a personnel issue or a possible personnel issue, then certainly we need to go into executive
Yeah, it's a
session.
criminal thing,
Right.
investigation. So, yeah,
Okay.
go ahead with the reasons why, and
2 pages of,
can we shut that thing right down, unplug it, and pull it out
Do
of the
not
wall?
unplug it. I will shut it down, but
Do you have your ears out there this time?
It's not, we're not live anymore.
We're not live. They took all the live stuff out.
Are you sure?
Thank you, Jesus.
really,
Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah. I'll be praising the Lord for that one.
I'm gonna
Okay,
put
I
this-
guess
the
my
board up
finding-
anyways, though.
This isn't going, and nobody's gonna hear it until I listen to it anyways.
I guess my finding would be that we're going to, into executive session to discuss a possible disciplinary or dismissal action against a public officer or employee. That would fit that.
So moved on that one. Second.
Okay, now,
Right?
oh yeah, but we don't do that under this. This is just the findings.
This
Now
is
we
just
have to
the
have a motion.
findings, okay? You've had your findings motion, and now
Okay,
you
now
have
you can go to
your
your motion.
executive session motion.
Okay, so we need to move that the board find that a premature general public knowledge would clearly place the board or person involved at a substantial disadvantage. Pending,
We don't want litigation, do we?
so I move, we need to move, I know you guys are just gonna say so moved.
Yep.
We need to move to go into executive session with Lieutenant Anderson on a personnel issue.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
You didn't think I was gonna repeat that again, did you, Katrina?
I got it.
I used to know it down pat where I could just,
Well, you
No.
had, yeah.
it's also,
I can't make a cheat sheet, it's too big.
it's right, it's,
yeah,
It's too
well,
big.
when you've
I
got 3
can't,
pages,
yeah.
yeah.
that's why I leave it here.
Okay, so you entered in at 7:01. 7:01.
We still need that thing up there?
No.
You don't need to block that?
Well, if you want to, yeah, I guess you should.
I'll do it.
I guess you should.
Apologize, we're running behind. I am so sorry.
No problem.
Story of our lives.
You smart enough to bring a book.
We'll be done in just a few minutes and be at you, so. Okay. Went into executive session at 7 o'clock, coming out at 7:25. No action taken.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Harris.
I make the motion that we approve the expenditure of up to $500 to purchase a camera for the inside of the police department.
Taken out of,
To be taken out of emergency building fund.
Second.
it's been moved and seconded to authorize up to $500 to be spent on an inside camera for the police department, money coming out of emergency reserve. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Anything else?
That's it.
Well, again, thank you very much.
Thank
My
you,
pleasure.
thank
Have a
you
good day.
very much.
Okay, you too.
Who seconded the motion?
I did,
For your reading pleasure. Take care.
cool.
Now, we can
Thank
go
you.
on the website for this, right?
Uh,
When it's
As soon as
When
it's
it's
fixed.
fixed.
When
When
it's
he,
fixed, yes.
Because Keith did show us that website
Yeah.
when we went.
Yeah,
Okay.
I broke the public access portion. No, I didn't want them to see, no. So I broke it, I kind of fixed it, but I'm just gonna, rather than train you on the old system, I'm just gonna wait till the new system's up and running and go from there. All the same information will be ported over, it's easier,
Okay.
so. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
also. Peter, please join us. Thank you so much for your patience. Now, Peter called and asked to talk to us about solar panels on town property, like Townsend, and there's a couple other towns that have done it, right, recently?
I don't know.
I don't remember what towns, but go ahead. You got the floor.
Oh, okay. So I have the pleasure of coming here and doing something that most people don't come. I'm coming to tell you how we can add some money to the income side of your ledger rather than adding to the expense side of your ledger. What we do, as Jeff knows, is we build solar photovoltaic systems. what we're starting to do is to build larger ones that take up about an acre.
Wow.
And provide power for 25 to 30 households. And the net metering laws in Vermont allow us to build a solar garden or solar farm, and anybody who's in the same utility territory, meaning anybody in Green Mountain Power territory, can actually own panels in that farm and get the same benefits that they would if they put the panels on their own house. Only it's actually better for them to be in the farm because our economics of scale and location generally make the return better for people to buy into the solar farm than if they were putting them on their own house. But lots of people don't have a place. 75–80% of the people who would like to put up solar don't have a place that's a reasonable place to put them.
So they have the desire, but not the location.
Not the location. So we have a mechanism to serve those people. So we're looking for places to do this. We need an acre of land. It's great if there's three-phase power available there, which there is most of the way down 142 here in Vernon. And what we're doing is what we did in Townsend was there was a piece of land that Townsend owned that had actually been an old dump. People just drove up to the edge and dumped stuff off for years. And there wasn't anything they could much do with it. The Agency of Natural Resources said, no, you can't do anything else with this piece of land, but they were willing to let us put a solar farm on there. So the town of Townsend gets a land lease from us, leasing the land to us, and they also get a donation from us. Every time we build a farm, we donate 5 to 10% of that farm to a local nonprofit, non-taxable entity, which in this case we would offer to do to the town of Vernon, and say that we would give you that donation, which would come sort of in the range of $5,000 a year that you'd get. And if the town doesn't have a piece of land that's suitable or would work, we can still put it here and still offer the town a donation of about half of that.
You mean here, like on the building here?
No, here in Vernon.
Oh, anywhere in
I'm saying
Vernon that
we can work here in Vernon. The offer of a donation to the town stands even if we can't find a piece of land, but it would certainly help if there was an acre of open flat land where we could put one of these installations. Jeff has inside knowledge because we
3 years ago, Peter and his company installed I guess we consider a small residential close to my house, and it's worked great. How close to power lines are you talking? I mean, I know the closer the better, but
400 or 500 feet is fine. For a perfect location, we can extend the power line a bit. And perfect would mean really wide open east, south, and west. Actually, Vernon has more of that kind of land in it than anywhere else in Vermont.
Really? Wow.
Big flat river bottom land here would be great.
And how many units and how big is, just thinking a whole acre?
It's actually, we'd like just slightly more than an acre, about 1.1 acre. We did a project in Putney that was half that size. So we can do something smaller, but the economics of scale really helps if we get up to the level of 150 kilowatts.
Can I ask a really dumb question?
Probably.
I learned a long time ago that I'm better off to ask it.
Yeah.
Can you put a solar farm on top of, like, if a development has a community septic area, could you put a solar system on top of that?
I would have to say a guarded yes. We did put a solar system on Paul Harlow's engineered septic field at his farm in Westminster. We would just have to,
You'd have to look at the land.
well, we'd have to have a good drawing of it. We're gonna drive poles 6 feet down into the ground, and we don't wanna go breaking any of the structure. But there's nothing inherently wrong. As a matter of fact, it's a great use of that piece of land, because you can't really do anything else with a piece of land.
And that's what I'm trying to, as we're talking, I'm trying to identify pieces of land that I can think of, but
Well, now I'd like to ask a stupid question.
no dumb questions.
And yours, by the way,
No, I
wasn't
meant
stupid.
I meant there are no stupid questions,
Right.
not that you can't ask a dumb one. I just want to let you know that. I wasn't telling you no.
You're gonna get it tonight. You're in for it now, sweetie.
And she's been so good so far.
Is this like a Verizon tower or AT&T tower that you would offer money monthly for a person to donate or allow you to use their land? It is.
Yeah, it's pretty much like that.
Oh, I'm sad I don't have enough land.
We need a little bit more land than tower typically takes. But,
Right.
But yeah, it's
It's the same concept.
It's the same concept.
See, it
The
wasn't
difference
stupid
is
after
that
all.
we're adding another concept to it, which is this concept of community solar.
Okay.
Which is that we would make these panels available on a priority basis to residents of Vernon, just like we do in Townsend. So the Townsend people had a chance to come in who wanted to join in and who wanted to support solar. For the people who buy in, it turns out that it's a really good deal. They can borrow the money to buy the panels, and their payments on that loan are just about the same as their payments on their electric bill were.
Oh.
So when they finish paying the loan off, all of a sudden they have free electricity. You're never going to stop paying GMP. You're just renting the power.
But now, you say that, but solar doesn't always build power, because if it's raining out or it's cloudy out, the solar's not producing power. So how can somebody go solar in this farm and completely be off of payment for like Green Mountain Power?
Okay. We have to go a little deeper into
Yeah, I might be
how it
going
works
way
here.
too technical for me to be able to
I think it's-
understand,
It's
but-
really important to understand. What happens is we build this community farm. Let's say you were
I buy a solar
you were
panel.
gonna buy a
Right.
solar panel. Okay. So we build a community farm.
Mm-hmm.
You buy a solar panel in that farm. You pay us for that. That solar panel, let's say we have 100 panels in the farm. So you own 1% of the farm. We send electricity back to the grid, and Green Mountain Power monitors that. And they buy that power. And then they pay for it by putting a credit on the electric bills of all the people who've bought the power. So your electric bill looks just like it always did. You get your power just the way you always did. You get it from the grid. But because you're putting power into the grid to offset that, they give you a credit on your bill. And we typically build a system, sell a person enough panels so that the credit that they'll get pretty much offsets the bill that they now have.
So what's the cost of the panels?
The cost of the panels
That
is,
obviously will depend on the size of the farm, right?
well, pretty much the cost of the panels is set, because what we're really aiming to do is to keep the price of the panels right about at the same level that the people's electric bill is right now.
Okay.
So the cost of the panels is $1,000 a panel. And when you pay $1,000 for the panel, you get a tax credit from the federal government of $300.
Wow.
Wow. So then that
So-
cost you only
$700.
$700.
So now the
Yeah.
payback is less than a year.
Well, no, because that panel will only generate for you.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We
1%,
pay
you're
back.
not,
It'll generate about $70 worth of credit. So the payback.
So
A
what you
month?
need to do,
A month or a year?
A year.
a year.
So
Oh.
that would take you about 10.
Yeah,
10
take me 10
years to
years,
pay it back.
probably 12 years.
But the interesting thing is that, unlike a lot of things that people buy, where it's discretionary money, I'm going to either buy this or I'm going to buy that. In this case, everybody's already paying their electric bill. So all it is taking the money that they would have passed over to GMP and using it to buy the community solar. So it's not really costing you anything out of pocket more than you were already paying. And
So
then when the loan is paid off, you got free electricity.
So say I'm a huge believer of solar, and I don't mean it sarcastically, because I do think that it is one of the weapons in our, tools in our toolbox.
We got
Weapons.
weapons.
Weapons, not the good choice of
mass
words, sorry.
destruction.
Say I buy 10 panels,
Mhm.
and we're producing enough power that it's more than paying my electric bill. Will Green Mountain Power give me back money?
They won't.
Oh.
They would if you.
It was a nice
Oh,
try.
wait a second.
They'd rather discredit, they'd rather,
This is Vernon is former Green Mountain Power
Yeah.
Yes.
territory.
Yes.
Will. If you were, it's very strange. If it was former CVPS territory, they won't, even though it's one company. But former Green Mountain Power territory, they will write you a check.
So we could actually make money off
You
of
could
it.
actually make money off of it.
So that's
So
quite an
basically, you could
incentive
get
for.
a 9 to 10% return on an investment in solar. When
Huh.
you could get 1% in the money market.
But what if you had, just about every, homestead in Vernon wanting to buy, 2 or 3 panels? You're gonna have to have more than 1.5 acres of land.
That would be
He
our
would love to
dream.
have that problem.
Yeah.
My dream is to take that picture and cover it with solar panels.
Sorry, we have other plans.
Well, I know, but you put the solar panels in with your gas-fired
Yes.
plant.
No,
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
absolutely, absolutely.
A hybrid is what we're
absolutely.
A
looking
hybrid
at.
plan is exactly what we want.
Absolutely. So that would be a possibility, but we have one very tiny problem. None of us own that land yet.
If ever.
I understand.
But,
Right.
That's just a long-term dream for me.
it's a long-term dream for us too. The acquiring of the property is, we've got to go through the NRC. We're just beginning all of this stuff. So it's not anything that's going to be done in 6 weeks. But
6 years would be a miracle.
well, 6 years I think is doable. I really do.
What about the liability of the waste? If you end up owning the land, is the town
We would
gonna-
never own the land that the waste is on. We would
No,
never.
never
No
waste
one.
anywhere there.
No one would ever own that but the company.
Good.
And actually-
I'm sure that the risk of that, you thought
Right.
about a lot. but-
Yeah, no, we would never own that piece of property.
No, but
fields are, that's ours.
that would be great. But
That's the one
buildings
fly
with big
land
flat
on.
roofs are possible locations. But here, we pay about $2,000 or more per year per acre. And Jeff's dad told me that he doesn't make nearly that growing corn. In a really good year with everything going right.
Now, let me ask you, you pointed to that picture,
Yeah.
okay? Say in our future we do get the gas plant,
Mhm.
and we do want the hybrid.
Mhm.
Would you invest in building that solar, or would you want the community solar? Is that really the only way that you put up solar fields is by community solars, farms?
It's a really good question, and I think the answer is I can't tell you. And the reason I can't is because, as you all odd when I said if you pay $1,000, you get a $300 federal tax credit. That tax credit is set to expire at the end of 2016. Nobody knows what this market is going to look like at the end of that time. If solar panels fall a little bit more in price, if electricity gets a little bit more expensive, the steamroller that solar is becoming in the world will continue to take off. I mean, I was just reading today an article by one of my guru favorites, Amory Lovins, who says that actually he was talking about nuclear fusion plants, which I've always thought 50 years down the road. It turns out that however you make the power, the next thing you have to do is take the steam that it generates and run a generator to generate electricity. Just the part of the plant from the steam on costs more for making electricity than both solar and wind. So there really isn't any reason to build any more of those, and it'll be interesting to see whether it costs more than natural gas. It may actually be more cost effective to put in wind towers and solar panels.
That's a question. Up north, I understand a lot of wind towers were put in but not used. Is that going to be the same with solar?
No. I don't know why wind towers could be put in and not used.
They say they're not being turned on. They get permitted, they get built, and then they
Well,
don't turn them on.
I know there were a few that Green Mountain Power built that they couldn't turn on because they hadn't actually built an electric line capable of carrying the power away from them.
There's a thought.
Well, but you're saying that, that the projection is that solar and wind are gonna be cheaper than gas or nuclear, but isn't it a fact that solar and wind are not a strong enough power to be base power? And you need the gas or the gas or the nuclear or coal or oil, whatever, for base power in order to draw the solar and wind onto the grid.
I'm not an expert on the large-scale economics of it,
Mm-hmm.
but the key component about solar and wind not providing base power, they provide plenty enough power. But electricity has to be used the instant it's generated.
Can't store it.
And now there have been really big strides in energy storage in the last couple of years, and almost all of the research money that's going into energy now is going into energy storage. How can we figure out better ways? And there's a one down in Northfield, Massachusetts, where they use the energy from the hydro plant.
Northfield Mountain.
Northfield Mountain, to pump the water up the mountain and then run it back down. They really haven't found a better way to do it than that. If that's possible, somebody has this great idea of using it to run a really heavy railroad train up a hill, and then let it run back down when they need the power back. But
it still is a loss.
it's always
Right,
gonna
you're
be
still
a loss.
generating
It's the
electricity
Need
for no
more to-
reason.
yeah.
Right.
It always demands that it'll be a loss.
Right.
But the question is, if power is 4 times as valuable in the middle of the day as it is in the middle of the night, then you can afford some loss. In the case of solar and wind,
That's what they do down there, is they pump it at night and then.
run it back
yeah.
during the daytime, yeah, because they got the water running through the dam all the time.
Yeah.
Other dams will like to hold the water back and just release it in the daytime. The problem with solar is it's only generating power during sunlight hours, which is great for a lot of reasons because it's when the power is the most valuable, but you can't run a whole system on solar because you wouldn't have power at night.
And what happens when it gets covered with snow?
Go out and brush it off.
They don't work.
You have to
go out
they
and brush
hire
it off.
someone to
Literally,
get out
to
there with
sort
our
of plow it,
shovels.
yeah.
What
Yeah.
we did was we invented an adjustable mount that tilts up in the summertime
Yes.
and tilts down in the winter, so it sheds snow on almost every snowstorm that we have. Do you adjust yours?
Yeah, and for the most part, yeah. that
And
is what happens.
doesn't
It
some of them
slides
just
off.
automatically do it, like that house down there just below?
The one that's just being built.
No,
Oh.
yeah,
The one
the
next
one
to it.
next to it. They have one, and you'll see that sometimes you'll watch it turn.
Yeah.
And it's like, are they doing it, or is that automatically following the sun around?
It's all automatic.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it requires very sophisticated technology, which is prone to breaking. And in all of our analysis, we get the same return because ours are cheaper, just manually changing them once a year instead of having all these gears and motors and internet control from Burlington to make them work.
Yeah, so the solar tracking, that is a centralized control for all these individual trackered, and if there's no connection, they don't work.
Yeah, if there isn't a connection, they don't work, and the ones that are made here in Vermont, even worse, if there's no connection and they don't work, they're designed so that if winds get above 30 miles an hour, they tilt up to flat and don't provide any wind resistance. But if they lose their power, or if they lose their internet connection before the winds get to 30 miles an hour, then that fail-safe mechanism fails, and the towers they're standing on aren't strong enough to take really strong winds.
So, and you probably would lose power
You'd lose the
in
whole
a
thing in a big
windstorm, when is exactly when you would need it.
Right.
Let me ask another question. I saw, I don't remember what show it was, but it was on one of the public television stations or something. And it was talking about California and the issue that California is having because they've built huge, big solar farms. And the light from the solar is attracting insects. I guess it was in Good Morning, I think it was Good Morning America I saw this on. But anyway, the light was attracting insects, and the birds were coming down to get the insects, and they were frying. So there are thousands of birds that are dead in these solar fields in California because the heat radiating from the solar panels was so hot. It was burning up their feathers as they tried to fly by.
There's two different kinds of solar technology. One of them are the kind of panels that we put at Jeff's. Another is called a solar concentrating technology, and instead of putting out panels, they put a bunch of mirrors. And they aim them all at one point where they make steam and use a steam generator.
Oh, that's
It's
interesting.
That kind of concentrated
Okay.
power that has the problem.
Okay.
Where they generate that kind of heat.
Sure it
Solar
would.
panels actually don't work very well when they get really hot.
Well, I was really
So-
surprised by, and of course they didn't explain the difference in the technology. They just called it solar panels, and I was
Yeah.
very surprised watching the article. It was really, I mean, it was frightening how many birds were being fried.
Yeah.
Thousands of them.
I forgot my medicine.
Does anybody have any more questions? Well, we can spend some time trying to think of where there's property that we could identify. I can't think of anything that the town owns that's big enough for what you want.
Not anymore. We used to.
But certainly we can try to identify, and if there's a resident in town that's interested in
Streeter
putting
property.
an acre big solar panel, that's something they might want to invest in. I don't know.
Well, the media's here. They're probably going to put that in the paper, and that'll at least give you an advertisement so that people could call you.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that.
And
certainly-
we'll certainly give it some thought, but I can't think of a single piece of property that Streeter we gave to Huck Hill.
Right. There is property on Newton Road, that big field there, but I can't remember who owns it. Oh, that's right. Since when did you buy that, buddy?
He's not talking.
He's busy reading.
What?
Newton Road property.
You'd rather not discuss that. It's like-
Well, thanks for your time.
Thank you. And
Thank you.
we have your information here. Well, that's actually not you.
That's Anna. She's my office manager.
Okay. But we have the information here that we can contact you and, as.
And as we move through the VY negotiations as well,
We'll
and see
keep
what.
that in mind. And this meeting is aired on Access TV, so all of the people from Vernon and many other towns who watch our select board meetings will see this whole presentation, and hopefully word will spread from there.
Construction dust.
Well, it would be fun to do it.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
We'd be happy to talk with you as you move forward with VUI. We do have other sources of financing to build solar on a much larger scale.
Mhm.
But what we're really trying to do here is develop a local scale where people can
Mhm.
keep the financing local and keep the tax benefits local and not have all the proceeds and benefits going to rich out-of-state investors.
Okay.
Great. Well, thanks very much.
All right, thank
Thank
you
you
very
very
much.
much for coming.
Thank you.
Our next on the agenda, oh wow, we're at chair's remarks. I think we need to just go on from there, so. Approval of minutes. Motion to approve the minutes of August 18th.
Well, I have a couple concerns. Down here, we made a motion about changing the locks and all that stuff.
I wanted to discuss that
We need to
too.
clarify something around here.
Yeah.
And,
I wanted to.
No,
I wanted to
seriously,
discuss-
No, I know. We need to
well,
do
we
something
do.
around here.
No, I wanted to discuss
no,
that
I know.
also.
But
Okay,
point
good.
of order, the minutes do reflect exactly
What
what
was
was said.
happening.
Exactly what was said, but
We will discuss the other part of it during old business,
Okay.
but during this part of it, it is just to approve the minutes.
all right, I accept the
But,
point of order.
but you're right, I did want to bring that up also.
Yep.
So we will do that.
All right,
Make a motion that we accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the minutes of August 18th, 2014 meeting as presented. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
aye.
Okay, and we have a request from the town clerk, or we already approved the town clerk, we need to ratify that.
Right. And I make a motion that we ratify the approval of the town clerk going to a meeting on September 15th through the 16th.
What meeting is it?
Mountain Municipal Clerks and Treasurers
Right.
Association annual meeting.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's an
okay.
annual meeting, yeah.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded to approve to ratify the approval of the town clerk attending the municipal clerks conference on September 15th and 16th. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Now, we have also we have a request for the listers, auditors, and town clerk to attend the town fair.
I'd like to say that I don't feel that the auditors need to go. So I would take them out. But anybody that does go to, that we do approve, we're only gonna pay one mileage.
Absolutely.
We're not gonna get into this, like we did last year, half this, half that. If you're going, go together, ride together or whatever, work out your problems. We're not 15 anymore. And we're only paying one mileage back and forth. That's
Right,
it.
and the auditors are only working an hour a week.
That's right, I won't approve for them to go. The listers, yes, but.
Listers, Carol
And
said
town
that
clerk.
they're actually not going this year.
Okay,
Listers
then
are
I,
not going.
They're not going this year.
Then
Then
how,
I
how
approve
could the listers and auditors want approval
Yeah,
then?
Well, when we put it down initially, we put it down for the town clerk's
November.
office and the auditors, but then a question came up on whether the listers wanted it as well,
Yeah.
because they had gone last year.
So wait a minute, then only one of the auditors is looking to go, because the two of
I
the listers are
think-
auditors.
no,
Phyllis was looking to go,
no.
As
Um,
a,
She's a
and I
lister.
believe.
she's a lister, but the listers aren't going.
Well, let me just tell you that Carol and Bill are not going.
Okay, well,
Oh, okay,
Look,
got it.
I'm sorry,
And
that's
because
my
I was getting
mistake. Yeah, I
confused.
guess I was
Okay.
thinking of.
So
Phyllis
Phyllis
as
wants to
auditor.
go and Nancy Gassett wants to go, and
I believe so.
Well,
the town clerk
And then the
wants to
town
go.
clerk.
Now, isn't the meeting, it's not in Killington this year, right?
No, it's
No,
Essex Fairground.
Yeah,
and-
Essex.
And, I'd like, while we're on the town fair, I'd like to make a motion that Jeff be our voting member, because we need to have a voting delegate.
absolutely.
And I cannot be that.
Sure.
okay, then I'll
second.
Yeah. What she said.
It's been moved and seconded for select board member Jeff Dunkley to be the voting member for the VLCT annual town fair.
And she remembered his name.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. So now,
Aye.
they don't spend we don't pay for hotel and
No,
stuff for them
no,
to
we
spend
pay
the night?
mileage and that's
Okay.
it.
No.
But it's really hard to rationalize an all-day conference for people who are only getting paid an hour a week.
I feel that we approve town clerk and town clerk only. But that's my opinion.
But if
If anybody else wants to go, they can go on their own dime.
one of the listers, who's also an auditor, wants to go.
Well,
do we-
I would hate the thought that we would use it as a lister thing so that we could go as an auditor. No, but I don't wanna disagree with a lister going either. I mean,
Right, it gets a little tougher when
Well,
you're
I
talking
think
about-
you were right to begin with, the listers and the town clerk. The listers work more hours.
Yeah.
They've got a lot on their plate right now with the changes that are going on in Vernon, and there may be something for them to pick up. But somebody who's only working an hour a week, to me, it's hard to rationalize paying them a full day, a full 2 months' pay, in order to go to one meeting. It just doesn't make a
no,
lot of sense.
I'm
to me.
not, I'll make a motion that, the listers and the town clerk, to be approved to go.
I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve for the listers and the town clerks to attend the annual town fair. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Also, we are only paying one. And also, I think that, like you said, anybody else wanting to go that has not been authorized to go pays for their own
More
way.
than welcome to pay their own way.
I'm gonna pay my own way regardless. I have some family in that area, so I'll just,
Well, I think the town should pay for your
Your time
conference fee. And
Absolutely.
then if you
All
don't
right,
wanna put in
conference
for
fee.
reimbursement for
Not for
mileage,
travel,
that's
no.
fine.
Yeah.
But I think the town should, and I thank you very much
Yeah.
for being, your
being
willingness
the
to go
person
up
to-
there
the
and down
delegate,
alone
yeah.
on your own.
I'd lose more money leaving my business for the day than what I would get paid for travel anyways, you know.
I know, but
If they were
sometimes it
closer,
doesn't make a
I'd like to
difference
go.
to
They
people.
used to
Thank
be
you.
a lot of fun.
Yeah, they'll be in Killington next year, I believe.
Killington?
think
Oh,
it's
that's not too bad. I could go. We'll
It's
see.
actually nice at the town fair. I was there that year, remember?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's fun. It used to be a lot of, free things and,
it's a lot of, I think you get more out of networking.
Yeah.
I mean, the classes are great, I don't wanna put them down, but networking is such a big thing.
Very valuable.
yes, it is.
Now, who's the legislator of the year this year?
I don't know, they haven't told me yet.
Oh, so it's not out public yet?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Treasurer's report. Bills and warrants.
We had a question on election pay.
Mhm.
I thought, there's a note that election pay wasn't budgeted this year.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, so, I make the motion that we approve the following bills and warrants. 5 SG accounts payable, $95,755.14. Number 33S payroll for $11,847.76. Number 34S payroll, $10,515.09. And number 35S payroll for $9,108.81 minus the election pay that was charged but not budgeted for.
I didn't even notice that, Sandy. Thank you.
And that would be, do you want the amount?
No.
Okay.
Bill, no.
Your daughter's here. Yes, that was one of the cuts that
Yeah.
that was suggested by the town clerk in her budget. We don't have that budgeted.
So,
Okay, second, please.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve and pay the following warrants. 5 SG accounts payable for $95,755.14. 33S payroll for $11,847.76. 34S payroll for $10,515.09. And 35S payroll for $9,108.81 minus the election pay. Because that is an amount of money that has been taken out of this year's budget as one of the cuts for the town clerk's office. So all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No, with limit. I will agree with the last one, but I say no.
On the election pay?
No, I agree with that one.
Oh.
There's one in there that I don't agree with.
All right. And
So I say no.
apologize
So you're saying you're
My fault.
voting no?
That's okay.
completely. Okay.
It's fine. It's just that this one particular person,
I know.
that's, no, I'm sorry. And then leave our people out? No.
I know. Okay, old business, outside auditing RFP, update.
Well, it is out there, and we are getting, requests for it.
Did you send it to that company in Montpelier that Putney and Dummerston go to? Do you remember the name of the company?
Yes, what is the name of it, Sandy?
I don't remember.
It began with M, didn't it? Oh, I don't even have it written. I don't have any of my
I
stuff
can tell
here.
you what it is, but not right now. I mean,
If
it's in-
somebody can send me the name of it,
I'll do that.
then I'll be happy to
I
send
think
it out.
Jones and
Sure.
Lambert up in,
was like-
Johnson, Lambert, and Burlington's a good one too.
But this one with the other town, it's like Mudgett
Yes,
or
Mudgett and
something like
something.
that.
It begins
Yeah,
with M
okay, I'll
anyway, I
send
know
it to you
that.
tonight.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because that's what Guilford and Putney
Yes.
and all of them.
And Dummerston.
And
all
Dummerston, they
use.
all
Yes.
use them.
And the Johnson and Lambert, you said was in Burlington?
Mm-hmm.
And where is the other one out of? Do you know?
Montpelier or Barry? is it?
Yeah, it's,
Montpelier.
Montpelier.
Okay, I
Um,
can do some search.
also, we received an email that somebody was, accusing us of putting everything onto the town treasurer. But as our secretary has explained to the treasurer, who understands, that it's just accounting questions only.
Right,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did
Right.
change the RFP a little bit, so it was a little bit clearer.
yeah.
There was a couple of, proofreading kind of points that were brought up, and I changed those and then resubmitted the RFP. but-
Well, if an outside auditing firm is gonna ask questions, the only person they would ask questions to would be the treasurer. If they
Yes.
wanna know what kind of auditing system they use, no one's gonna be able to answer that better than the treasurer.
And sure enough, somebody sent a request for the RFP and asked an accounting question. I received the request for the RFP and then had to go to Sally to ask her the accounting question that they were.
Well, I
asking.
don't, I get very upset, and I am upset, that, somebody that only works 1 hour a week has any authority to make adjustments or anything like that to our whatever it is.
The RFP is the job of the select board.
Select board.
And this select
Right.
board will continue to do their job over and over and over again without interference from any other department.
Thank you, and I don't think
We
that-
are the town governors. We've been elected for this position. The town of Vernon overwhelmingly supported this audit, and we will do our job.
Yes, thank you. I think that's enough said.
So that is, the update is that it is out there. It was advertised in the paper
Okay.
for, we ran it for 4 days. Today would be the last day.
What's the submission date?
September
30th,
30th.
29th or
September.
30th?
30th,
Which is still
Was it
plenty
the
of time,
30th or
even if you
29th?
sign.
29th.
29th, it's the 29th.
Yeah,
You set a special meeting for that day.
right.
Which is still plenty of time, even if you send
Yes.
along the ones that we just
Yeah.
suggested, because I'd rather have a bigger pool of people bidding.
Yes, me
Yep.
too.
So we really have a really good idea of what a fair cost for this audit would be.
Yep, and the advertisement for it is on our was on our website as well. So it's out on our website and it's on VLCT's website.
Okay. Okay, and now old business we wanted to discuss? The minutes, keys.
Yes, the keys, thank you. Yeah, you know, I drew a blank when I got that email from Carol. But we did, or the obviously, the motion says that we were to change every door and lock and only the full-time people. But it would be kind of hard for the listers not to have keys.
Well, number one, I think, you know, stepping back from it, we said every lock, but when I was saying every lock, I was thinking all of the office doors. I don't know if it's necessary to change locks and hall doors that don't really go anywhere but to an office that's locked.
Right.
So I think changing just the office doors. Now, that being said, we increased the hours for the listers. So they are not part-time people. They are full-time people.
Well, I know, I didn't realize that I was saying that the listers couldn't have keys to their thing. No. I do expect them to have keys. But that's the only people are to have them are the full-time people, these, and the department head or whatever you call it,
But
the
I
elected official or whatever, I mean, like Sally.
Sally's full-time, so is
Right, it's
Sydney.
Susan.
Susan.
And, you know, they get their own keys, but those keys go only to the people that we designate and no one else.
And they have to understand that. There
Yes.
are keys everywhere around this
Everywhere.
town, and it is a tremendous liability to the town
Yes.
to have keys out there we don't know where they are. And that's the whole point of changing the
Right.
keys. Now, I argue if you're not there full-time, there's no reason for you to not to even have a key, because for the few hours that you work, you certainly could get into the town office building during business hours, and that's when work's supposed to be done. Now, the listers are a little bit different because sometimes they have to be available to the taxpayer. Because somebody has a question, they're at work 9 to 5,
absolutely.
and they can't be here at
Okay.
5.
They have
that
meetings
was-
sometimes at
And they have
night,
meetings sometimes
That was
at
gonna
night.
be my question, why
Yeah.
anybody really, except for,
the
you know,
listers.
no, except for if we have a maintenance person who's here when the building is open, why anybody really needs a key to the outside door, or,
Because
Any
sometimes
door,
they
but
have
if
to
they-
meet
if-
with taxpayers
Okay.
outside of business hours,
Right.
because that's what's convenient for the taxpayer.
Okay.
And that we will always strive to do. But to have keys for these buildings that, you know, anybody could come in here, and I'm not saying that everybody who has a key is gonna break in, but the point is,
No.
we don't know where these keys are. We don't know whose hands these keys might have fallen in, and there's a tremendous amount of confidential materials in this building. That's why we started locking the select board room, because people were in here.
Well, then I'd like my
all the
motion
time.
to stand.
I would like your motion to stand too.
Yep.
So we would be changing, just so I'm clear, we are changing the treasurer's office. We are changing the lister's office. We are not changing the town clerk's
Yes,
office?
we
are.
Changing
Yes,
the
we
town
are.
clerk's office, okay.
Town clerk gets a key, Bill Hammond gets a key, Carol gets a key, Phyllis gets a key, right?
Treasurer's,
Treasurer,
Sally and
and
Cindy
her
offices.
assistant, Sally
Sally
and,
and Cindy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if anything happened to the
And-
building after hours and maintenance had to come in, they have keys. they have the keys under a locked box.
Town clerk would
And
be,
obviously the sheriff has
would
got
be,
keys to
Susan.
everything.
Yes, and what about her assistant?
She work full-time?
No.
No, she really, I don't think that there's really a need to, because she's only
Well,
here
if she
during
comes
office
in and
hours.
Susan's not coming in, she needs a key to get in. Oh, well, actually, the door,
No.
Kevin's here, yeah.
Kevin's here at the
All right,
building.
okay.
Okay, so town clerk would be Susan.
Yep.
And then, listers would be Bill, Carol, and Phyllis.
And the keys are not to be shared with anyone.
They are not to be shared with anybody, and the only other ones that have it outside those people are the sheriff.
Police department.
Yep, and Kevin, and they're to be kept locked, period.
Maintenance.
Maintenance, yep,
Maintenance, yeah.
all right,
He does have a tracking.
yeah.
He does now have
He
a
does
tracking,
now have a
yes.
tracking, but, you know,
Yes.
we've had this discussion,
Yes.
Kevin and I, and like he said, there's a lot of keys out
Yeah.
there. We don't even know who
He
has
had
keys.
He had a bunch of them, he didn't know what they go
Yeah,
to, but.
I mean, there's a whole drawer of
But
keys
now he
nobody
does
knows.
have, just so you know, he does have a system in place, and we do
Yes.
have the locked
Yep.
cabinets.
So, okay. Now, that being said,
And that's really where this suggestion came from, was my conversation with Kevin about the fact that there are a gazillion keys out there, and nobody even knows what keys are out there, who has them, and why they have them. So we need to rein that in. This building holds way too much material. We've got to be very careful that we're protecting the confidentiality of people in our community.
that being said, I'd also like to discuss that the auditors are going into Sally's office and requesting treasurer's materials and stuff like that, and maybe not even requesting, just going in and taking them. I don't know. But we did receive a email from Cindy, and I feel that maybe they should, just like everybody else, request from the treasurer a copy of whatever they would like to have, and no one be allowed into the treasurer's office unless she opens the door and lets them in.
By statute, anything that's asked for by the auditors has to be turned over. But they have to, it has to be a reasonable amount of time. Like if I'm busy doing
Payroll.
payroll and I'm smack in the middle of it, doesn't mean I have to drop everything. There has to be a
But they
certain
don't
amount
have
of
a right to
notice.
go in
But
and
they
pull
have
the
absolutely no
files
right to go
out
in and pull
and all.
files out.
have to request it.
Anything that is taken out of the treasurer's office by anybody has to be requested.
Well, it
But
would seem
through
to
the-
me that there should be some sort of a request sheet where you have to write
She
down
does
on a
have
sheet
one,
what
doesn't
you
she?
took and when it was returned.
I don't know if the auditors do it, but if you or I went in to ask something, there is a sheet.
Well, there
Yes.
certainly should be
Well, I
one
think
for the
it's-
auditors as well.
yeah,
So you
because
need
they're
to have
not
a paper
audit-
trail.
We have to be careful with statute.
No, I'm just saying, just for a paper trail, so if
Right.
somebody's looking for something and they
Yes.
can't find it, they know
Statutes say you have to
where
have
it is.
originals?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think
You-
statute says that.
It is an open law that anybody can go in there and request anything from the treasurer except for, except for confidentiality stuff, personnel. But the thing is that, she don't give us originals. She gives us a copy, and that's what I'm saying. If they want something, then they ask her, tell her, or request it, like you say.
Even if she gives the originals, it should be asked for. You don't just go.
And
in
you
Well,
have
it
a
has to
time
be
limit. I
because
mean, you
it's-
can't do it at night. You can't keep them. You can't take them home. We've
That
said
was-
that.
Oh, good
That
Lord,
was
no.
another thing. No
No.
material is to leave this building. And that is our
Okay.
responsibility and our decision to make. Those files all need to be protected. Nothing is to leave this building. We're having an outside audit for a reason. The amount of hours that the auditor's department is going to work is limited. We don't need to be taking material out of here.
I mean, I wouldn't want my name associated with something that I've taken home.
Well, it's not even that. What happens if you
I wouldn't.
take very confidential, very important material home and you have a fire?
Or you lose it.
You
or
know, here
whatever.
everything is protected, and it's in fireproof cabinets, it's in vaults, it's protected. It's
Yep.
not protected in someone's home.
I don't think our liability insurance would cover it.
I don't think so
No, it
either.
wouldn't. It absolutely would not.
And I think it's very dangerous that that's happening. It's dangerous to the records of this town, and they are not to leave this building.
I think copies only should be given out, period. I mean, can we do that?
I don't know. I don't know what the statute is.
But I
on that.
think the checklist needs to be kept, and I think that should be put in too, that anything that the auditors take out of the office should at least be written down somewhere so that
Yep.
it can be found.
And it will get, you
Yeah,
know.
time in, time out.
Jeff, have something else on old business.
Mhm.
On June 7th, 2012, we got the recommendations back on the ordinances. And we took action on it, and we sent it back to Mr. Couton. We don't have it yet.
Yeah, I've asked him a couple times about it, and he said he doesn't have
He
them.
doesn't have them.
And I know you two separately sent them. So I don't know what happened to them. You know, I think you had sent them first. You said you didn't have them, then you sent them. So I don't know. Do you have them electronically still? Did you send them
I don't know
electronically?
that we sent,
faxed them.
I was gonna say, I don't know, we sent, because some
We
of them we
faxed
don't
them.
have electronically.
I have what we decided to do on each one.
Could you make a photocopy of that and send it back up and tell
I'll do it
him?
in English, you won't be able to read my
That's,
writing.
you know, and figure it out.
Can you just CC me on it too? if
Yep.
you- That would be great, and then then I can keep.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've been busy, obviously, shortly after that, we've had a whole lot of stuff to deal with. But this needs to be done, and I also want to talk about a policy for Vernon becoming a right-to-farm town, and kind of following Northfield's policy language.
Gill.
And Gill, I have Northfield's and Gill because a very distinguished gentleman in town gave them to me. But I think as we move into the future, I think the most valuable thing we have in this town is our agriculture. And we want to do everything we can to protect it as we move on to the future as to what Vernon's going to be and what it's going to look like in the future. So I think discussing, and I have it at my office, but I forgot to bring it in. But I would like to discuss that.
And one other thing, if we could put at the bottom of our agendas, like a parking lot thing of things that we need to keep track of.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that
a
would
good
be really nice.
idea. It's a very good
The
idea.
busier we get, the easier it is for things to fall
Yes.
through the cracks, and we've gotten very, very
Yeah.
busy.
And
Yeah,
as the
we
oldest
also need to
person, I
start
need all the help I can
with budgets too.
Listen,
Yeah, we
So do
gotta
I.
give ourselves a month though. We gotta get through this grant process first.
Yes, I know.
September
And
23rd.
on the grant process, I am so extremely pleased and grateful to tell you that I did meet with Entergy last week, and Entergy is going to lease the Governor Hunt House for our RT incubator. I left everything in my car, including all my agenda stuff, but I do have a little booklet on the Governor Hunt House. What's going to happen is when Vermont Yankee closes, they want to bring everything on site. So they have this intake process where somebody who's going to work for Vermont Yankee gets badged and takes their tests and stuff like that. That is in a building by the Connecticut River down by Sir Sosimo's right now. They want to move that here. So that is going to be one half. You know, when you go into the Governor Hunt House, on the right, there's a big room, and they use that for a meeting room. That room's going to be split in half, and the intake is going to be on one side. The other side's going to be used for meetings. So that building, that part of the building really isn't anything that we can use. But we're going to co-live our IT incubator and this facility. So when you come into the building, you'll go to the left. And about where the bathrooms start, although we will share bathrooms, but about where the bathroom starts is where our IT re-energized Vernon will start.
When did we approve that?
What?
The IT energizer
We've
thing?
been talking about
I know
that.
we've been talking about it, but
We approved the whole get going on it, that with the planning committee and everything else. I don't know if maybe you weren't here.
no, I was here. I just
No,
wondered
it
if we
was-
made a motion to.
I think we approved to support the concept.
Tell them to go for it.
Yeah.
I think so.
We better have, because if we've done all this work for no reason.
Well,
I just want to make sure that we did it right. I mean, you know.
Applying for the grant and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
when you go upstairs, there's 5 bedrooms. Well, 5 rooms. That used to be bedrooms. They use them for classrooms now. Those rooms can be used to house people who are doing their startup business. Downstairs, there's 2 conference rooms. The conference rooms, and this is what the planning committee has been working on. This is their proposal. The conference rooms will be able to be rented out as space for people who might need them, or will be able to be used as space for these IT startup businesses if they need space to be able to meet with other people. So they're not meeting in a room with 5 other desks. That is the proposal. The planning committee's in the process of writing the grant. It should be done, let's do the 23rd.
So we're gonna try to finish it by this Thursday, take a last look at it Tuesday. We've had meetings almost every night. Try to finish it by next Tuesday and get it done.
Yeah.
I got a
They-
lot on my
the
mind,
planning
too.
committee has done a fabulous job. They
Yeah.
really have worked very, very hard to do this.
We had a
It's
great
been-
planning committee.
It is an excellent planning committee. We're still looking for another member. Or they are still,
I can't-
they want another member, so the select board's looking for another member to appoint to the planning.
And not
committee.
only that, but Peg Fairby has also done a huge amount of work.
Yeah. I
Peg
can
and
imagine
Martin
that.
Langfield, as
Yes.
the two of them, I don't know where this grant process would be without the two of them.
Yeah, they're amazing people.
I come in for a few minutes here and a few minutes there at these meetings, and they start talking, and I'm like, it's over my head. But writing grants is not an easy talent, and they've really.
And it really is a talent, I've learned. You can't just start to throw things down on paper. It's really, it's quite a skill set that
Oh, yes.
I certainly don't
Yes,
have.
people go to school for that kind of stuff.
Apparently.
So anyway, that's where they're at, and I guess they're gonna have the whole proposal ready for their last look.
Tuesday, a week from today,
Wow.
we hope.
Today's the 8th, well, they're gonna have to a week from today, because it's gonna be due 2 weeks from tomorrow. 23rd is when it's due.
Third, yeah.
Right. So actually Thursday, maybe even Thursday night, and then we look at it quick over the weekend, and then it goes in.
So they're asking for,
No, wait a minute, we've got all week next week, right?
no,
Yeah.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
you do, but you gotta
But what
type.
I'm saying is that it's gotta be done by, when I said next Tuesday, it's gotta be cut and pasted and all that by next Tuesday, so that gives us a week, a week, sort of.
The rest of the week.
Yeah, the rest of the week to get it in.
So you're gonna have to help me with this, Janet. So their proposal is to also ask for, a staff member to be the facilitator of the grant.
To be the administrator
Administrator
of the building,
of the building.
of the program, plus be an economic development person who can hopefully tap into all the other money that might be available for support services for people who are starting businesses
Now,
legally.
who's asking for that?
This is
DUI
part of
or
the
for
grant.
This is part of the grant.
Part of the grant, the
So-
town is.
Yep.
Looking for ancillary legal services, accounting services, mentoring services, and finding other sources, because there are apparently a lot of sources within the state and also within Wyndham County that can help us provide those kinds of services, but you have to find them. And then you probably have to write grants for them too. So somebody who is, and then also somebody who's capable, if this thing really takes off, of growing the center, looking to develop it even further. Maybe it becomes a research center for any number of people to use or any number of businesses to use. So it's a good chunk of the grant is going to be for a salary for an extremely experienced person who knows how to write grants, who knows how to not only administer, saying, okay, you can sit at that desk and you can sit at that desk and, help facilitate to get, because we do also have to move the fiber optics. We have to bring fiber optic high-speed cabling into the building from the Entergy part of the building. So that's the main is that person. I think
So what, I realize, but what does this benefit the town? I
Well,
mean,
it benefits,
yeah, that's what I'm asking. Is it gonna benefit tax-wise and?
if we build businesses, yeah,
of course.
definitely. And it benefits on a personal level for our Vernon residents who are losing their jobs, because they will have first priority to this IT
Right.
center.
and it will be free. It will be
They'll be
free.
able to stay in their house and continue to pay
Absolutely,
property taxes on their
yes.
house rather than
Well,
somewhere else. Yeah.
I'm asking the question so to get
And
out there. The
speaking
answer will
in,
get
yes,
out there.
and speaking in terms of people who've gotten maybe retention bonuses for a year, we're going to try to use that money to start a new business.
Wow.
So that they get to stay.
I think
Yeah.
we've talked about this before. It's not our intention to actually run this
No, I understand that.
forever, but because of the time constraints of this grant, turning it into 501c3, there just wasn't enough time to do that. So certainly that's what that committee will do. Once we get the grant and get it up and running, is start the process of turning this into a 501c3 so it becomes a self-sustainable unit when the grant money runs out. certainly can't be a burden on the town.
No.
Can't
And
be.
this administrator person will have to be a town employee, theoretically, for the first year, but they'll be a contract employee, so we don't have to pay benefits, or we don't have to worry about pensions or anything like that, because we just can't do that.
No.
So, what does everybody think? Do you want us to continue to proceed?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to have everybody do all this work if you don't want us to continue to proceed.
Yeah.
Because they're spending a lot of time.
That is a no-brainer,
That's a
absolutely.
Keep working.
Okay.
Keep on it.
I have two other things.
Yes.
When are the time clocks gonna be up?
Gotta figure out where we're gonna put them exactly.
Are they in yet?
They're in.
Oh.
They're in. I've talked to Seth.
Finally,
We think we've established a place at the school. Kevin, it's gonna require that Kevin help me a little bit with it. We're thinking the best place here is in the not in the foyer of the general building, but that other foyer,
Where
right
the
outside
other
the
one used
town
to be.
clerk's office.
yeah, where it used to
Where it
be,
used
yep.
to be.
Which would be the other place. And then the highway department has a spot picked for theirs. And then the rec center will have the other one. We will have one left over.
Because we don't have a police department.
Well,
Yeah.
for the
Library.
rec center at the school.
Library might be
Library.
interested in
I
it.
was gonna say, so that was,
Right.
maybe they might be somebody else might be interested in it, but we do have one left over. So I just gotta work with Kevin and Seth and Sally, cause there's a software program to it, as well. I kinda was checking to see when she might be back. We talked with her a little bit today, to see when she might wanna
Okay.
get that up and running.
And then the other thing I have was, if you look at the warrants, our treasurer's office does some amazing things, but there were two bills from Staples that amounted to about $190. And with the coupons that they clip and everything, it only cost the town, no, it amounted to $207. It only cost the town $72. I think
Wow,
they are really,
wow.
really doing such an awesome job, and they need to be commended.
Yes.
They really are. They really
Wow.
are. We'd be lost without them.
Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful.
Great job, Cindy and Sally.
Okay.
I make a motion. Oh,
We've
never
got to
mind.
do media. We've got to do new business. There is no new business. There is no correspondence. Michael, do you have any questions?
Just really quick, I was interested in the sort of the ongoing transition with the police,
Mhm.
and it sounds like there's a lot of inventory. I hadn't really thought about
Mhm.
that. First of all, is there a lot? And second, do you think the town stands to actually get a decent amount of money for all this stuff at the end of it, or?
Well, the police department has been in effect since, I can't remember. But anyway, yes, we've purchased new
Before I came.
radios. We've purchased new
70
radios and
78.
all that stuff in the past, and some of it's pretty new equipment, so it will sell for a fair price. Other equipment isn't quite so new. As you heard the conversation, we might even try to box everything up together and sell it as one, because it's pretty daunting to try to go through all of that stuff and, sell it all. The cars, one car's brand new, and we've had a few police departments reach out to us interested in it. But because we're a town, we can't just say, okay, this town, you called first, so you can have it. We have to box all of this up and put it out to bid. So yeah, it could be a substantial amount of money, just because the brand new car still has a huge value. The Tahoe value is not as great, and the other car is, as you heard Mark. Oh, you didn't hear Mark's part. The other car probably does not have as much of a value. Probably will be sold either as scrap, or if somebody wants a used vehicle to bop around in. But all of the decals and identification of a police car have to be taken off the car if we sell it to a private entity. And that's why I think it's easier for us to just put everything on Vermont League of Cities and Towns and let the towns that need the equipment bid.
So they just
It's gonna go on Vermont League of Cities and Towns website. Chris is gonna be the one that's gonna handle all of this for us. So her
If I
number
can
will,
remember.
her number will be there for the towns to call and, inquire. We'll make sure that there's a detailed list of what each piece of equipment is, what the value is of it, and towns can put a bid in. Highest bid will get it.
And it sounds like this is everything from the cruisers on down to this really smallest stuff.
Portable
that you can
radios.
store in an office.
We are gonna check with the fire department first to see if they have any need for any of the portable radios before we sell any of the equipment, because we don't wanna sell a portable radio today and have them come in at budget time and say they need 3 portable radios. So we will
my
check
number.
with, the fire department, to see if any of the equipment that's available is needed by them, and then we will go from there.
How about things like weapons too?
No, we haven't talked about the guns yet. Gotta be very careful selling the guns. So we have 2 choices. We can try to sell the guns through Vermont League of Cities and Towns to authorize police departments, well, not that a police department is unauthorized, so you know what I mean.
Rogue police departments.
We could, we could also go through a
No,
gun
that wasn't a stupid
dealer.
statement.
A gun dealer, and I guess we really need to discuss it. It's kind of overwhelming. Everything that we're dealing with is just all so time consuming. Every one of us are going 6 ways to Sunday on different issues, so we have to really sit down and talk about the guns a little bit more.
And speaking of the time consuming, just a real quick question on the grant process. You said that Entergy has agreed
Mhm.
to allow the town to use?
Yes.
And would that be under, they would retain ownership of that?
For right now, they will retain ownership because they still need to use the building through their shutdown process.
It would be leased to the town, is that your understanding?
For right now, yeah.
Oh, you know what, I'm sorry, last thing on the police department thing, I don't know if you can say anything about this or not, but the camera within the department, I mean, can you say anything about why we need such a thing? It was the vote that happened after executive session?
Oh, the one for inside?
CUI.
Right.
Well, more than anything for protection of the police department, of the police officers. Right now, they can park in front of a camera outside the building. So if they arrest someone and they're taking them out of the car and they become belligerent, the camera's there to show everything that happens. We don't have that inside the building. So it's for the safety of the officers, so if anything does happen, it's all on videotape.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn this fine meeting. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Told you to get you back.
Do you want to see that?
And Patty, you need to just sign this one, because that's the
Yeah,
only
I
one
won't
that.
sign.
oh,
That's the one I won't sign. Okay, here. This is one of, not this box, because I just put it in here because I had to use it.